This is the Samsung Galaxy S5. It's Samsung's latest flagship phone. It takes the place of the Samsung Galaxy S4 at the top of the line of Samsung's phones. It's a little bigger, it's 5.1 inches. It's got a Snapdragon 801 processor, making it a little snappier. It's a really nice design, actually. It's really light in the hand. It feels good. It doesn't actually feel like a very large phone, even though by phone standards, it's fairly big. Fingerprint sensor right here in the bottom. Doesn't match. You might try a few times, and got her in there. So, just like the iPhone 5, you can unlock with your fingerprint, although you have to slide rather than push the button, which, as you can see, doesn't work quite as well. Not the most reliable thing. One of the upgrades is the camera on the back there. This guy is a 16 megapixel camera. It actually has this really cool mode. So if I go right into the camera. Now, you've probably heard of HDR photos, which essentially take 3 photos nearly simultaneously to give you the best exposure. This, from the Galaxy S5, can actually have that on all the time. It is that fast with the processor and the image processor. So you can always preview what it's going to look like in HDR mode. So you can turn that on or off, and it's going to be much better for photos when you have sort of varying levels of exposure. Say the foreground is dark and the background is light, or vice versa. Samsung also added phase detection autofocus. It supposedly focuses in about 1/3 of a second. Most cameras usually take about a second. In practical terms, it's not going to make a ton of difference to you. Firing up the camera in the first place still takes a while, and if you don't focus on anything, which I think a lot of people do, it still takes a little while to take a photo. Also, there is an optional accessory, this case, which is kind of nifty. And the good thing about Samsung phones is you can pop off the back, battery, spot for an SD card, nice, and this baby goes right on the back here. So there we go. Fun, very easy. Also, great thing about this, watch. Get that neat little window there. Also, one of the cool things about this, if you engage the camera, it actually takes square photos by default when it's in the case like this. You know, I'm not a case guy, but if you are and you like Instagram, nice. There's this cool app that Samsung has called S Health, which is essentially part of this movement where your phone, perhaps connected to some wearable technology, has become a bit of a personal trainer for you. It also ties into Samsung's wearables, the Gear Fit, the Gear 2, the Gear 2 Neo, and that data can go right into here, so you have this centralized place for your all your personal health data. So on the back of the phone, right here, one of these is a flash, and the other one is a heart rate monitor. So what you do is you fire it up, and then you put your finger on this sensor back here, and you can see it's a little bit red, and it's basically shining a light at the skin so it can sort of see the blood vessels underneath and then essentially measure my heart rate. And we'll just see how that goes. Oh, there we go, 69 beats per minute, not bad. Big upgrade to this year's Galaxy S model. This Galaxy S5 is actually waterproof. Up to 3 feet of water it can be thrown into for up to 30 minutes. Now it'll probably withstand more than that, but that's all Samsung is more or less guaranteeing. It's what's called an IP67 rating. Now, and to see that in action, here we go. This little flap needs to be on, obviously, for any of that rating and waterproofness to work. And the good thing is, the phone actually will remind you to put it on. So when it's off, you're gonna get some messages occasionally on the screen saying, you should probably close that, because if you drop it in the toilet, it's gonna break. But if this is on, it won't. So we're gonna have a lot more coverage of this phone and some of the specific features. We're also gonna have reviews of the Gear Fit and the coming Gear smartwatches. So be on the lookout for those and subscribe.